Hey guys, thanks for joining me for this 47th episode in Season 2 of Good Questions with Cameron Dole. Special guests for this episode include Tony Orlando, got a new release through Time Life Records, a new radio show and podcast we'll be talking about. We'll also talk with paranormal expert Katrina Weidman about the new season of Portals to Hell, which is available now on Discovery+. We'll also talk with Shep Rose, got a new book, Average Expectations, Lessons in Lowering the Bar. We'll also talk with songwriter and singer H. Jack Williams, got a new music video for What a Wonderful World, plus some upcoming music we'll be visiting about as well. And our final guest will be Canadian country artist Brett Kissel, got a new album, What is Life, that's available April 9th, plus a new single we'll talk about, Make a Life, Not a Living. Of course, if you would, please take the time to subscribe, drop a like, comment, leave some feedback, and of course, share with your friends. Now, have you ever used Google to settle an argument? A new survey found it's really common right now. 77% of us have felt a wave of satisfaction when we Googled something we weren't sure about and found out we were right. Now, here are the most common topics that we use Google for when we disagree. Number 1, historical events. Number 2, politics. Number 3, what year something happened. Number 4, spelling. Number 5, the actor or actress who was in that movie you can't remember. Number 6, the weather, like is it going to rain. Number 7, which artist sings a particular song. Number 8, geography or where something is. Number 9, grammar. And number 10, recipe ingredients. The poll also found the average person Googles the answer to something 5 times a day, and 44% of us think we're an unofficial expert on at least one topic because we've Googled it so much. Legendary singer, songwriter, entertainer, Tony Orlando on the line with us first. And Tony, first off, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show.
Thank you, Cameron. Thank you for having me. You know, we're neighbors, actually.
Really?
I live right here in Branson, Missouri. I'm in Oklahoma a lot.
Branson, a beautiful, beautiful place. And now I know that we've got 6 decades of music to talk about. A short bit of time, Timeless, the Big Hits album. For you, Tony, how excited are you to have this one out there and to celebrate the 6 decades of music you've had?
Well, I never thought I'd be doing this 6 decades after the first hit record, which was Halfway to Paradise in 1961. Remember, I was 16 years old when that record came out.
Wow.
And to think that I'm in my 6th decade, I remember Sinatra saying to me, man, Tony, I'm coming into my 6 decades making records. And I remember going to Sammy Davis's party at Caesar's Palace. And I said, Sam, you're in show business 60 years? And lo and behold, Cameron, here I am in that same boat as those guys. And there's no greater feeling than to have product out after 60 years and a response to that product that we've had from Time Life's Timeless album that they've been so kind to put out. It's unbelievable, really.
And Tony, that's not the only way you're celebrating. I know you've got your own radio show, and I think that's a great story, too, on WABC, the first station to play your first song way back in the day. I mean, how cool is that to be able to go back and pay homage to them and tribute as well?
You know what's so crazy about it? As you know, being in radio, in New York, WABC is an iconic radio station.
Mm-hmm.
So they recently brought back their iconic, legendary radio guy, in Bruce Morrow, Cousin Brucey. He's been in radio also 60 plus years, as you know. And he now has a show from 6 to 10. So he calls me up and he says, I played your first record, 1961. I said, you sure did, Brucey. He goes, how would you like to do your first radio show behind my show, 10 to 12? I said, yeah, that'd be fun. Well, I didn't realize how much work it was. You guys do. First of all, don't let anybody think that radio guys don't put in their time. Let me tell you, it's a serious medium, and it takes a lot of time to put on a show. So I go on. I'm only doing 2 hours from 10 to midnight, and the show explodes. Cameron, I mean, the show explodes. The radio uh, with streaming and all is amazing. I get even mail from London. I get mail from Taiwan. I'm getting mail from Australia. It's incredible. And it's incredible to do what you do, is to play music and entertain people who might be home quarantined or not feeling well or in a hospital or even alone driving across country. It's a great, great, great opportunity, and probably one of the most fun times I've had in this business after 60 years is being on the radio.
And also getting into the newer medium as well, podcasting with Saturday Nights with Tony Orlando. And we were mentioning that you had one of our own on the podcast just recently.
Yes, I had Garth Brooks and Trisha on. They were kind enough to come on just right after they did the inaugural. And we did about a 30-minute interview, and then interspersed it with their songs and their hits and their new record that they have out. And so it was Shallow is the song that they have out right now from, great record. And they are two incredible people who have remained normal. They've got no airs about them. Garth and Trisha are about as normal as your next door neighbor. They're a joy to be friends with and to talk to us as a professional. There's no greater, and I never saw a greater entertainer in my life than Garth Brooks. And I've seen them all. I saw him come out in Vegas recently, just his guitar. Did a 3-hour performance at the Wynn. I must have counted 8 standing ovations. And it was just him and a guitar. No band, no sets, no dancers, no lighting, just one spotlight, one guitar, and Garth Brooks. Amazing.
That's good stuff. Now, Tony, all of the podcast, the radio show, also the new album, where's the best place for folks to find information about all of that?
Well, just go to my website. You can get me on Twitter. You can get me on Facebook. It's TonyOrlando.com. And that's it. I mean, it's the same old way these days is through the internet. You can find anybody and everybody whenever you want. And I'd be honored to talk to people who would want to make contact. I'm grateful to the audiences, Cameron. The truth of the matter is, they're the ones that have made you and I have the life that we have, and we owe it to them.
That's right. That's right. Well, Tony Orlando, it has been another privilege to visit with you this morning. I pray you have a great rest of your week, and look forward to talking again real soon, brother.
Thank you so very much, and thanks for all the years of help. I really appreciate it.
Well, you know what I like about this survey? How it's not overdramatic. 51% of people in a new survey say every time they get a work email, it, quote, crushes their soul. The survey was run by Slack, which has a horse in the race since their app is trying to basically replace email with messaging, and they're sort of pulling it off, but still, crushes their soul? Well, the top 3 complaints people have about email are it's too formal, it makes it hard to figure out what to prioritize, and it makes people feel less connected to their coworkers when they use it. And half of people say they've been sending fewer emails since the start of the pandemic last year and using other apps to communicate more. The hit series Portals to Hell. New episodes are now available on Discovery Plus, and we've got Katrina Weidman on the line. And first off, Katrina, Portals to Hell, when did you know that you had a calling? I guess is probably my first question.
What's so funny? I don't know that that it's even hit me still, because when I was a kid, this wasn't a career option at all. So it just sort of happened while I was in college.
Now, how did the process come about of Portals to Hell, working together with Jack? How did that first come to fruition for you?
Yeah, so I obviously knew who Jack was, and I think I had seen the Osbournes a couple of times, when I was a kid, but he's always been a big fan of anything paranormal. He's always had an interest in it. So he knew of me because he used to watch the first show that I was involved in. And when he was, putting this show together, he reached out to me and was just like, hey, I used to watch your show. I'm putting together this show. would you want to meet up and talk? And so we ended up meeting up and just talking about our experiences, what we thought of everything, what we wanted to do.
Is this a show that you would say is for the faint of heart, or do you have to mentally and emotionally prepare for the new episodes?
I guess it depends on your level of fear tolerance. There is a really harrowing place that we went that was hard for me, just being and doing this for 15 years. But there was a place we went to. It just got released last Saturday, our premiere, and it was a family of serial killers. And the thing that is crazy is that it's a 3,000-acre farm, and they know that there are more victims, but they can't find them.
Wow.
So, for me, that's always kind of like my barometer of like, this might be a little too much for me, dealing with that side of things. So I think it really depends on where you're at with that kind of stuff.
Now, what was it about the paranormal as a youngster that first drew your attention?
I had experiences when I was a kid, and my parents, my mom is a believer, my dad is not. And so I think I got a pretty good balance of, keep a skeptical lens on, but, maybe there's something to this.
Right.
And but when I was a kid having these experiences, they didn't necessarily embrace it, but they didn't shut it down. But I knew that I didn't have the answers that seemed fulfilling to me at the time. So I was always kind of on a quest. And I would, the Scholastic Book Club would come around, and I'd buy all the books and about ghosts and everything. And I was always just sort of searching, I guess, for those answers. And when I got to college, they had a club, and it started me on this journey.
And what has been, maybe, was there ever a moment that you got so far that you were like, I don't know about this. Maybe I need to rethink my my life goals.
Oh, yeah. All the time. All the time. No, I think there's just been some experiences I've had, and just over the course of the last 15 years of doing this, that have really kind of rocked my foundation of what I thought, or I guess how I thought the world was supposed to work, because some of these things really do by science. And it's when you have an experience that kind of shows a crack in that, it's really hard to wrap your head around. And there's been multiple times in the last 15 years where I've wondered, maybe this is a little too much sometimes, and maybe I need to step away. But the flip side of that is, once the curtain's been pulled back a little bit, it's very hard to walk away from that.
Now, Katrina, do you see that, is it a more welcoming environment that we live in than when you first delved into it, if you will?
Oh, my gosh, yes. When I first started, it was still very taboo.
Mm-hmm.
And I can recall a time, we'll go out and do live events. And there was a time I was at an event where we were picketed. People didn't want us in the town because they thought we were doing the devil's work. And, which isn't what I do at all. I don't, I'm just there to document whatever happens. But, there's definitely been a shift in conversation about what it is we do and what that means. And people feel more comfortable to talk about their experiences, and they're definitely more open to the possibility of what this could all be, whether that's naturally explainable or not.
There you go. And of course, new episodes Saturday nights on Discovery Plus. And Katrina, I want to make sure and let our listeners know where they can keep up with everything, not only the show, but also your socials as well.
Oh, great. So the show is Portals to Hell on Discovery Plus, and we are streaming now, which is great. So you can catch up with our brand new season. And for me personally, I'm on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and that's Katrina with a K. And my last name is spelled like Weid Man. So you can check us out on all those to keep up with everything.
There you go. Well, Katrina, it has been a privilege to visit with you this morning. I wish you a very great rest of your week, and hopefully we'll talk again real soon.
Yeah, thank you so much, Cameron. I'd love that.
Now, this might be the first guy to get fired over his aggressive punctuation. Well, it's also the first guy to get a settlement after he got fired over his aggressive punctuation. Dr. Binoy Sobnak was a lecturer at Loughborough University in UK for 18 years before being fired last March for, quote, unnecessarily aggressive punctuation. Now, the school mainly had an issue with how he used question marks. Like one text he sent said, quote, "Do you have to stay for dinner?" with 4 question marks. And, quote, "Why don't you listen?" with 6 question marks. Now, I guess I can kind of see where the school's coming from, because 6 quotation marks definitely feels like it means something. But still, it was a stretch to fire someone over that, and an employment board agreed. A judge gave Binoy a $20,000 payout. Binoy was looking for 4 times more than that, but the judge said it was clear that Binoy was doing some stuff that led him to getting fired. The reason the school used just wasn't good enough. He is one of the original cast members on Southern Charm on Bravo's hit reality TV series. Also, Relationship, and got his own line of coastal wear and a new book to talk about. Shep Rose on the line with us. And Shep, first off, thanks so much for taking the time, brother.
Hey, no problem. This is a miracle that I'm even up this early.
Now, tell us, when did the idea about the book come up, and let's talk about the title a little bit. Average Expectations: Lessons in Lowering the Bar, and give us what the true meaning to you of the book title means.
Well, I'm a big fan of Charles Dickens, and of course, his great book is Great Expectations. And I thought, I had a lot of different titles in mind. One of them was You Can't Lasso a Zebra, which I thought was funny. And but yeah, we kicked around a lot of them, and I came up with this one, and I thought it's perfect because, if you keep your expectations low, you'll never be disappointed,
That's right. Now this is also, I know that life is all about having fun, enjoying life, and pulling a prank every now and then as well. And Shep, you're not above that, are you?
Hell no. That's what it's all about. This is a big joke. Life is a joke. To me, it is. Obviously, I don't want to be callous. Obviously, life can be very difficult, but at the end of the day, I don't think we all mean that much in the cosmos.
And Shep, what is this last 12 months? What has that taught you about yourself, and maybe how we need to take life a little less serious also?
It's been an interesting last 12 months, but I don't have any. I'm going to look back at this with a wry smile on my face. I really think so. I think it's been fascinating. And it's been, lots of time to reflect, lots of time to write a book. So yeah, I don't have any sort of bad negative feelings about the last year. Luckily, luckily nobody close to me passed away because of COVID.
Yeah. And that's a blessing in and of itself. But Shep, has any of the ways that you've learned to do things in this last year changed things the way you're going to do them moving forward?
Yeah, there's this, who Warren Zevon is? He's this great musician, and he wrote Werewolves of London and amongst other things. And he died of cancer, and he was on David Letterman's show as he was dying. And Letterman said, do you have any perspective, now that you're facing this terrible battle? And he said, enjoy every sandwich. And I thought that was so simple and so beautiful. So enjoy every sandwich, everybody. It's the little things, the wonderful little things that make up our lives that sometimes we take for granted.
That's right. Shep, what is the go-to sandwich that you're going to enjoy?
Turkey, bacon, avocado, and honey mustard.
Putting you on the spot this morning. Now, in the writing of the book, what was maybe your thoughts going in, and how did those change as the progression of the pages moved forward?
Good question. It's funny. I wanted to write somewhat of a serious book. And Simon and Schuster was like, "No, you're not going to do that. we don't care about your opinions on that level, at least not at the time." So I was like, "Okay, well, I've traveled all over the world, and so that was I started off like, okay, let me just tell them about where I've been and what I've done. I've been to Buenos Aires, Hong Kong, Dubai, Austria, I spent some time in. So I just think that's the most fun, is hearing people's wild stories abroad.
That's awesome. And again, the new book, Average Expectations, Lessons, I should say, in Lowering the Bar. Shep, I want to make sure and not only let folks know where they can find more about the book, but everything you've got going social media wise as well.
Yeah, social media, the big bad wolf. Yeah, I'm on Instagram at Relationship instead of Ship, and then it's just my name on Twitter. Twitter, the cesspool that is Twitter. It's Shep Rose.
There you go. Well, Shep, it has been great to visit with you this morning. I appreciate you getting up after the St. Patrick's Day and gracing us with your presence. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and we can catch up again real soon.
Hey, same to you, man.
Now, we see a lot of companies these days hiring people for ridiculous dream jobs, but it's usually just a publicity stunt where they'll give someone just like $1,000 to watch Netflix for 2 weeks and tweet about it or something like that. But not this time. This company is stunt hiring for real. Murphy Good Winery in Sonoma County, California is hiring someone off the internet to move to wine country for a year, drink wine, and learn the industry. And they're going to pay $10,000 a month. Yep, that's $120,000 for the year. Plus, they'll give you a free place to live and 30 free cases of wine. They say they're looking for, quote, wine lovers looking for a change in your career and pursue your passion. We will work with you in your passions to help you choose your path in the wine business. And if you're interested, you can submit a video by the end of June telling them why you want the job. You can go to murphygoodwinery.com. Our next guest is singer, songwriter. Man, I've got a long biography we could talk about. Jack Williams on the line with us. And first off, Jack, thank you so much for taking the time.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Now, Jack, let's just start the music career, songwriting for you. Tell us where it all began. I mean, I've read the backstory, but just give us a little insight into where songwriting started for you.
It probably started with a poem that I took to Peter Gabriel, thinking it was a song, to ask him if he would give me a little bit of I was a beginnings, in my beginning days. It was probably in the earliest part of my career, and I thought that was the song. I took it to him. He read it. I got backstage. I was backstage and at a Genesis show, early Genesis show in Atlanta, and he proceeded and gently and politely telling me that what you got here is a poem, and what you need to do is put it to music, and then you have a song, and then you're on your way. And then get yourself bucketfuls of persistence and patience and perseverance, and maybe 40 years down the road, you might make it.
And for you, Jack, did that inspire you, or did it kind of maybe break your spirits a little bit at first?
Oh, nothing's ever broke my spirit. No, I mean, it inspired me. I ran home and picked up my guitar, and then I didn't know what I was doing. So then I did what he had told me to do, was listen to my favorite music and start breaking it apart and listen to how it was built song wise. And I did, and I was off and running. But I think that I doubt there's been very many things that have broken my spirit for very long. I mean, if it has, it's only been a quick. I wouldn't still be here at this point in my life doing what I'm doing if I had let everything that came along break my spirit do its job.
That's right. Now, Jack, you've had the opportunity to travel over the years, but this year, obviously, Jack was unlike probably anything you've ever seen as well. But I know you've got some new music out. What a Wonderful World, got the video along with that. And how much different was it this time around to get the new stuff out?
To get A Wonderful World out was, I had Bev, Bev Moses, my publicist, and she made that easy for me. Where all the other times I've ever tried to do something, I've done it on my own. What hurt me with the pandemic more, the pandemic was a twofold blessing, a blessing and a curse for me. It was a curse in the fact that I was 3 days away from jumping on a bus with Leonard Skinner and going and writing with Gary Rosington and Ricky Medlock and Johnny Van Zant with them for their last album that they're going to do. And that was going to be about a 3-4 week writing thing on the road with them. And after that, I was going to get on an airplane and go to Wales and work with a composer, a Welsh composer, John Hardy, who has done some really big scores. And then, all of a sudden I wasn't going anywhere. And that's what broke my heart, and wasn't being able to do that. But then, I did what everybody else did. I sat and watched Netflix for about a month and moped around. And then when I saw that it wasn't going to stop anytime soon, this was going to maybe go on a really, really long time. I just went in my studio and I just got up one day and said, enough. I'll go in my studio and see what I can do. And walked in there and began to write all the songs for the new album that we're in the middle of recording now. We're 3/4 of the way through, and that is probably going to be the masterpiece of my life anyway. I've got some great people playing on it. It's probably the best songs I've ever written. And that's what I'm saying about the pandemic. I'm not the only one that will say this of creative people, but I think it made us all more creative. I know I wrote the best songs of my career in the last 10 months. I know I've been more creative, and I've done more creativity in this house and in my studio than I've ever done. So, in one, 6-month, 7-month period. So that's what happened for me.
Now, you talked about the writing inspiration. Has it been a brighter or a more hopeful write for you over the last 10 months?
You mean
subject matter wise? Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
That's a yes and a no, because my what it's allowed me to do, what the pandemic has allowed me to do, is for all these years, I started out writing from my heart in the very beginning when I was working with Richie Havens and Uriah Heep and The Who and all that. When I began songwriting, I was writing from the soul and from the heart, exactly how. And then when I moved to Nashville, of course, I started writing commercial, and I started still writing from the heart, but not so much, and just kind of staying in the vein of writing what was commercial, which at sometimes can be from the heart, but not what I'm doing now. Now what I'm doing is I've actually reached down into the darkest corners of my soul and been able to write from that point of view. So yes, it's been a positive move, but I've been able to have the space to, and the privacy to be able to go down deep and come out with some of the things that my life that I've never ever written about. People don't even know that I lived through, so to speak. Yeah.
And Jack, for you, whenever you're writing like that, is there a point where you're like, okay, that's far enough, we've gone personal enough, or was it maybe a time where you felt totally uninhibited that way?
No, it's never far enough. I don't worry about that. No, I'm even writing I'm writing a book too, and the book kind of follows my songwriting and all my escapades in the rock and roll business, but it also has a bit of how I got started, and I did back off of a few things a little bit. I mean, I took the edge off of it, but in my songwriting, no. I mean, I just wrote a song with Moose Brown, who wrote "It's 5 O'Clock Somewhere," and we just wrote a song called "On the Road to Hell," and it's life on the road to hell, you know what I mean? And it's from that point of view, and you've had to be on that road at least 5 minutes to be able to write that song. But we didn't pull nothing back. I mean, we tried to make sure that we got as good as it could get, you know, because I believe I'm after. My goal nowadays is not the radio now. My goal nowadays is to get us as much music and songs in TV and film as I possibly can. And I want to believe, and I will believe, that they want the darkest, most authentic songs about your truth that you can give them. So that's right down my alley. I mean, I don't have to worry about that because I lived it, so I can go ahead and I don't have to make it up.
And you talked about wanting to be in TV, film, and movies and things like that as well. Well, you made a little bit of a contact, and I know his last radio single, "Love Shine" by Kevin Costner in Modern West. You had a hand in writing that, and I know that kind of lent itself into a bit of a working relationship music-wise as well.
It did. We become very close friends, and I was just with him this last week. He played at the Outlaws and Legends concert, a festival in Abilene on Saturday. I was with him for that because we've just written a new song that's on my album, and he played it that night too. And we have a great musical relationship and friendship that we've developed over the years of just writing honest songs with each other and with his band members. Written a lot with him and his band members included too. And it's just been great. It's good for that. But don't get me wrong, that doesn't, I don't want anybody to get the feeling that, okay, well, it might make it easy for you to get stuff into Yellowstone. Not even. I gave him a song that his producer, his band leader, and I, and his daughter wrote. He had it for 2 years, and that finally got into the hands of the music supervisor. Just happened. Nothing. It wasn't him. He didn't, not because he's the star of Yellowstone. You know, it those kind of things, the music supervisors rule the roost. And yeah, you might know somebody that's in the show, and yeah, they might be able to say, you know, this is a cool song. This is a cool song, but in the end, it comes down to the music supervisors and the directors deciding whether that song fits anything that's in their show or not.
To actually have something to have something actually picked up and make the show. I mean, how much of was it a relief, or was it a bit of excitement knowing that one of your songs was chosen? Yeah.
Oh, it's exciting. I think it's more exciting than hearing anything, you know, on the radio or something. When you're sitting around a couch and Yellowstone comes on, and then a scene comes on and your song's on there, there's nothing, no better feeling than that. You know,
now
it's a great feeling.
Now, do you actually sit down with the thought of writing for a show, or do you actually just sit down and write the words, the music, and all that, and then if it just happens to fit, is that kind of how you work with that?
Yeah, I write the song and we track it, and we write. Well, most of the time, a lot of times I write by myself, but a lot of times I co-write. We co-write the songs, and then somebody will make a track of it, a recording of it. We try to make the best track possible, and then it goes. Once that happens, it goes into my publisher's hands or whoever I hand it off, and then it flies on its own legs. And wherever it lands, it lands. And there's a lot of there was a time where it wasn't very, this all of a sudden now it's pop. Everybody wants to write TV and film. So there's a lot of competition out there, like there was when everybody was writing in the heyday of music for people, in the heyday of country, or in the heyday of rock, when people were cutting everybody's other songs. Now it's to that now. So but I do really think, from what I've seen and heard, I think that authenticity and legitimacy and truth rises to the top when the music supervisors are bombarded with a bunch of songs when they send out a brief and to everybody, and they say, I need a couple songs for these 2 scenes. And everybody bombards them with songs. They only listen to 10 seconds. That's it. We're in the music business. They used to listen to 30, 40. They listen to 10 seconds, and they know in 10 seconds if it's honest, and they know if they know right away whether that, and then they put that in that pile, and then it goes. That's why when you watch TV, it seems like every song fits the theme because those guys know what they're doing.
That's right. Now, Jack, if folks want to find out about the new music, the video of the classic "What a Wonderful World" and upcoming releases as well, where's the best place to keep up with all that you've got?
hjackWilliamsmusic.com.
You said it like you've practiced that before.
I've had to. It was a tongue twister at first, so I figured hjackWilliamsmusic.com.
That's good stuff. Well, Jack, it has been great to visit with you, delving a little bit into the back history. I'd love to sit down and do a little delving in the future, and hopefully you have a great rest of your week, and I look forward to that return visit.
Oh, me too. I can't wait. I look forward to it.
Now, I meant to check the weather last night, then spent 20 minutes researching why cats are afraid of cucumbers, so I guess this applies to me. But the average American falls down an online rabbit hole 5 times a week, according to a new survey. Now, that's where you get sidetracked or sucked in and end up researching something you didn't mean to. Now, we spend an average of 8 minutes on a topic each time it happens, so that's a total of 35 hours a year researching stuff accidentally. Now, the most common subjects we do it with are celebrities or entertainment, news and current events, history, science, and health issues. Politics, true crime, and technology also made the top 10. Our final guest, we've got an upcoming album, we've got a current single to talk about, and maybe something in the water up north. We've got Canadian country artist Brett Kissel with us. And first off, Brett, I appreciate you taking some time to be on the show, brother.
Well, thank you for expressing that appreciation, but I got to turn it right back at you and say how much I appreciate getting a chance to not only just talk about my music and songs and stuff, but get a chance to talk about life and catch up and visit with you too.
And you talk about getting a little bit about life, and that's what this upcoming album is all about, Brett. It's kind of like you were segueing me. You should just take over the hosting duties, man.
Hey, not quite. Well, I'll leave that up to the professionals, but there's no denying that this new record I'm really, really proud of. And of course, country music has deep, deep roots in talking about life and all the great things about life, all the challenges that life presents. But for me in particular, and this whole new project, it really started with a whole new headspace and a whole new mindset going into the creative process of writing and recording the new record that comes out on April 9th. The title is What is Life? And that's a question and a quest, that I've been on especially the last year to find the answer to that question.
And this is more than just a music album too, Brett. And what was the inspiration behind the monologues that are a part of the release as well?
Well, kind of the whole creative atmosphere that an artist can get into, when creating a project. Sometimes you come up with ideas that are really strong and good. Sometimes you come up with ideas that are, out of left field. And for me, having an opportunity to speak at the very beginning of the record and kind of do kind of a spoken word thing, I think sets the tone for the entire listening experience. If my fans and fans of country music gravitate to one or two songs, just get those singles and enjoy, hey, that's great. That's awesome. That's priority number one. But if somebody wants to dig a little deeper and to experience maybe the intention and the heart behind this record and all the songs written, all the songs recorded, well, I think we have an opportunity to peel back a couple of layers and do something that really hasn't been done, in this creative way before in country music. So it's something I'm trying out, but also something I'm really proud of.
And with the title, What is Life? I mean, I think that we've all asked that question over the last 12 months. And Brett, did your asking of that question inspire the work that you've done?
Without question, it did. It's funny, though, because sometimes, depending on the day, I feel like I'm no closer, to finding out that answer. What is life? And the more people I talk to about it, whether it's in a professional setting such as this or in a casual conversation with, maybe my grandparents, my grandpa, his answer was, life is right in front of you right now. Look at your little kids. Look at your wife. Look at your health. Look at everything that you've got as a 30-year-old, a guy who just turned 30. That's what life is. And then my Meemaw, she said, what's interesting about life is the fact that you'll never, ever really find the answer to that question, but it's all the journey. And then I kind of think about it, in kind of a jokey way, whoever wrote the song for Miley Cyrus, or maybe Miley Cyrus wrote it herself, it's The Climb. Like, I never thought I'd reference a Miley Cyrus song, but I think that it's so valid. It really is the journey.
Yeah. And over the last 12 months, Brett, what is the biggest thing that you've learned about yourself?
I mean, there's many things. But the thing that kind of is glowingly obvious is that there are so many things I still don't know. And every time I think that, my ego can get puffed up a little bit more, it's when I realize that there's still so much more at play here. And there's still so much more to experience. And having been given the gift of time, like I have, like we all have been given that gift, if we choose to look at it that way, in this pandemic and in this lockdown and times of quarantine, I'm realizing a lot more about myself that, there are silver linings if you choose to look at it. But the minute you think you got this whole thing figured out, that's when God or the universe is going to throw you a curveball. And boy, have there ever been a lot of curveballs thrown my way this year.
And we've been missing them. Been waiting for the fastball. The curve got us every time.
Exactly. And how great would it be to actually physically just go sit and watch a ball game, and not just at limited capacity. I'm talking, get overpriced beer and watch a playoff game and cheer with your fans and eat popcorn, or go watch a concert at a Wrigley Field, or go watch a Garth at Yankee Stadium. Like that kind of stuff is what I miss a million things, but live entertainment and the fact that social gatherings, although illegal right now, that's what I live for. I mean, I love social gatherings. I can't wait till we get it all back.
Now, Brett, in the last year, obviously, we've all had to get a little inventive, if you will, to keep ourselves entertained. And I was checking out and perusing the internet, Googling Brett Kissel, and lo and behold, Brett Kissel with Walk Off the Earth. I mean, how did that materialize?
You know what? They've been friends of mine for a long time. Johnny and Sarah are just incredible talents. They're so creative. And I just adore them as human beings, not just as artists. And so when this song, A Few Good Stories, was climbing the charts up in Canada, and we had an opportunity to do a collab together, I felt that this was a brilliant song, to use, for that. We met in 2014 on a red carpet at the Juno Awards. And my wife and I have been fans of Walk Off the Earth since they really got started. And we couldn't believe we were standing next to them. And I looked over and it was like, oh my God, that's Walk Off the Earth. And, you know, you fast forward a bunch of years and here we're collaborating together and we're good friends. I'm just really grateful for that. I just love them.
And how cool is it for you to be able to go cross genres and maybe reach an audience that may not have heard of you before?
Well, it's great. And in a lot of ways, that's the name of the game. I mean, if I'm flying the flag for country music, I'd love to convert as many people as I can. And whether, you know, they become lifelong country music fans or they just appreciate what this song is, that's a wonderful thing. And at the same time, I appreciated getting a chance to bring, you know, a bunch of my country music fans, you know, and get them in front of Walk Off the Earth too, because, I mean, they're so creative. They've got so much talent that, you know, there's no rules anymore in the music business. And back in the day, it was taboo if Ray Charles and Willie Nelson did something, or if I don't know, if Johnny Cash and Bob Dylan did something. That was really strange. Whereas now you've got Pink and Kenny Chesney and Keith Urban and Diplo and Blanco Brown and Marshmello and Kane Brown. Like it's all great. It's all music. So who cares?
For you, Brett, where did the introduction into music and the love and the knowing that you had a gift, where did you first realize that?
You know, great question. I mean, realizing that I had as I hold up quotation marks and, you know, my fingers, a gift, sometimes I still don't think I have it. You know, I feel pretty normal. You know, I'm just a normal guy with a normal family living out on a farm and just writing songs or, you know, trying to get words and music out of me. But when I started as a kid, it was everybody else telling me that this isn't really ordinary. This is kind of getting to extraordinary, because no one in my family played music. No one in my family can play an instrument. Nobody in my family ever sang. Like, I'm talking like nobody, not even a distant cousin or auntie or uncle or nothing. So the fact that I pick up a guitar and all I want to do is sing Johnny Cash and George Strait songs, I mean, my parents got a kick out of it. And then so did the community. And before you know it, I'm playing gigs in front of live audiences because, I don't know, Zeroni Motors, the Ford dealership, want me to do their customer appreciation. And then the Chev dealership called Smill Motors want me to do their 50th anniversary. And then before you know it, I'm playing the rodeo. And before you know it, I'm 12 years old and I'm getting paid $100 to sing at, I don't know, some local rodeo. And I couldn't believe it. I'm 12 years old and I made $100. Are you kidding me? Like, this is the best.
And from then it literally snowballed from there, right?
It did. And one thing led to another. So there's not a day where I decided, hey, I'm going to put this all aside and I'm going to go pursue music. I just got on that horse and never stopped riding, to be honest.
Now, Brett, we talked about this just a little bit before we came on the air. There's something in the water. Canada, there's a lot of country music, and to be a part of that and also see so many of your friends as well, to have the success right now that we're going through. I mean, how cool is that for you?
It's one of the greatest things because, and we talk about it on a regular basis, you know, all of my friends were in similar ages or similar stages of life. And of course, we obviously tip our cowboy hats to the heroes and the legends, you know, who really came down to Nashville. One of my heroes, like Hank Snow, who in the 50s and 60s was, you know, the first Canadian to be a member of the Opry. And then you've got Anne Murray in the 70s and 80s. Then you've got Shania Twain and Terry Clark in the 90s, you know, who did so well putting Canada on, you know, in Nashville. And now you've got this new crop and this new generation of country stars that are doing so well in Nashville. And I'm so proud of them, like Tennille Townes and Lindsay L., Mackenzie Porter, High Valley. And the list goes on of those who are really making a good run of it in America and flying the flag for Canada. There's a lot of national pride that comes into it.
And with the new album called What Is Life, the new single, Make a Life, Not a Living. And this goes obviously hand in hand with the collection. And for you, tell us where the single came from personally.
Well, I don't think there's ever been a more true statement for me in the way that I'm choosing to live my life moving forward. The lessons that I've learned, obviously, over the course of 2020 lend itself perfectly to the new mindset that, you know what, it's important to be grateful for what you got. And sometimes the chasing that I've been doing and the outside validation, external validation that I've been seeking is not really what life is all about. It's about the precious little moments with your kids, with your family, you know, just looking out at the free things in life, like a sunset, like a sunrise. I mean, this is real stuff here. And I was chasing the next big, I don't know, collab or getting a selfie with a celebrity. Man, that's not what it's about. So making a life, not a living, was the perfect song for me to hang my hat on and to kind of plant this big flag that says, this is who I am. This is what I've learned. This is the new journey that I'm on. And I'm very, very proud that I get to tell this story, something that I think is very relatable, you know, to the community at large.
And Brett, one of the big words we've all been hearing over the last year, 2 years, maybe 5 years even, is transparency. And in songwriting, do you find that that is a necessity for you?
You know what? It all depends on the song. Sometimes it's important to actually save a couple little moments in life or special moments that you have with, you know, with your spouse, like my wife, Cecilia, and keep that personal. But sometimes it's really important, if you actually want to relate to people, it is to be honest, vulnerable, and transparent. So you really just take it song by song, but in particular, this entire record, there's so much transparency and vulnerability. I just didn't hold back on anything. And maybe courage comes into play because I don't think I had the courage to do that in previous records. I was just chasing a hit song. Does this sound like a hit? Do I think radio's going to like it? Do I think my fans or this demographic, 16 to 26, is going to like it? Now, I don't care about those statistics. I just care about what's really on my heart. And if it becomes a hit, great. If not, then at least I kind of stood in integrity, you know, releasing music that was actually special.
And Brett, as you look forward to the upcoming release, I mean, how much different is the look leading up to a new CD, new album? I mean, obviously, unlike any release date you had before, right?
Well, you know what? To a degree, there's a lot of excitement that, you know, still is surrounding the release of a record. And April 9th is going to be a big day for me and for my family and everybody who's a part of it. That being said, usually you're putting out music to go and tour it, to go and work it all up and rehearse and then hit the road and go play these songs. With that not being the case this year, all I'm focusing on is making a true connection as best I can through the means that we have. And so I love these songs. I hope they all see the light of day. I hope they all get an opportunity to be heard and discussed and enjoyed by anybody who does pick up this record on April 9th. So the gift that I've been given has been time, to a degree, to just focus more on promoting it, setting it up, and telling the real stories behind it, because I don't got a rehearsal that I need to get to or a plane that I need to catch.
And Brett, after the year to kind of focus and look inward as much as you have, how much different do you think your presence is going to be once you get back up on the stage again?
Well, I feel bad for the act that's going to be playing after me, because the minute I hit the stage, I'm not going to leave. That's the thing. Like, I almost feel like I want to do a 24-hour concert, truly, and figure out a way to just play and get it all out of my system and make up for lost time. So I don't know how I'm going to feel, but I bet you I'm going to cry. I bet you that.
What is it? Is it maybe as you're coming on stage, is there something that you really miss that triggers the emotion of coming back on stage that you're really missing now?
That's such a great question. And I talked to my band about this. As we have a Zoom call every couple weeks, and we just visit and catch up. And we all went through the things in our show in particular, that we miss. And the general consensus for most of us was this moment. It's the start of the show. The music gets a little bit louder, the pre-show music. Everybody's buzzing in the arena. And everything's coming together really, 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 really great. And now the music's a little bit louder and a little bit louder now. And now it's pretty loud, boom. It stops and the lights go black. that's when people start to lose their minds. And when one spotlight hits me or that guitar chord hits, like, it's not just our show. I'm talking, it's like AC/DC too. Like when their stage goes black and you hear the hi-hat go, bow, da-da-dow, da-da-dow, and Back in Black plays, like, that to me, that's live music, baby. And that's what we all miss. That's what we all miss, is that energy and that angst and that anticipation. So we're going to get that back.
And Brett, what was the biggest technical thing that you had to learn this last year? Was it Zooms? Was it maybe Facebook Live? What was the hardest thing for you to learn technologically this last year?
It was definitely patience, and patience just in general of what's going on in the world. But when it comes to tech, I'm a guy who grew up on a farm and would much sooner just get on my ATV and go chase cows. Like that's truly, and then, light a fire and, hang out with my family and pour myself a vodka and Coke. That's the kind of guy I am. So writing on Zoom, doing vocals remotely for this record, I got fed up really quick, and I just waited until whatever the rules were in Canada. The minute that they changed is the minute that I got to a real studio, and I just started to do my vocals and actually get the band back together, because I'm not patient when it comes to technology. If I had it my way, I'd probably follow Elton John's mentality. He doesn't own a phone. If you need to reach him, I don't know how anybody reaches him, but he never misses a show or an interview, but he physically does not own a phone. So to me, man, that's actually maybe the secret to life.
That's the way to go, huh?
It might be.
Now, Brett, like we mentioned before, April 9th is the big date. Tell us where folks can keep up, where they can pre-order the new album and keep up with upcoming tour dates and all that as well.
Well, I'd love nothing more than, if anybody is curious about this new record or have, been following me for a while, to simply just go to my website, brettkissel.com, or go to my Instagram and click the link in the bio, and it's going to send you to whatever your favorite streaming device is, whether it's Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, Pandora, Google Play, Deezer, I don't know. It doesn't matter to me. Just go and check it out. And the new music video for Make a Life Not a Living debuted on YouTube, and it features my little kids and my wife as well. So it's a very special piece of art that our family's really proud of.
Well, that's good stuff. Again, Brett Kissel, it has been great to visit with you, man. Looking forward to the album as it comes up April 9th. And hopefully, brother, we can catch up again real soon.
And I hope that it's face-to-face, because we'll hopefully get a chance to play a little guitar and have a cocktail and have a really good visit face-to-face.
Again, thanks for joining me for this 47th episode in Season 2 of Good Questions with Cameron Dole. If you ever have a comment, question, or anything else you'd like to know, you can find me on all of the socials at GQ with Cam, or you can just simply contact me through the website. If you'd like to help out in the funding for this podcast, click on over to the shop at gqwithcam.com/shop. And if you have a special guest idea, email me gqwithcam@gmail.com. Again, thanks to Brandon Allen for coming up with the music for Good Questions with Cameron Dole. We're going to let him play us out. Hope you guys have a great rest of your Tuesday evening.